Okay, good evening, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. If you can just put a message in the chat room, let me know you can hear me, and then I will be starting in the next 2 minutes or so. Anybody can unmute and just pretty much let me know if they can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Great stuff. So I'm going to start in the next minute or so, just to respect everybody's time and everything else. So I will start in the next minute. Okay, so once again, good evening. My name is Josiah Asen. I am a business coach and also a business development person. Generally, I work with entrepreneurs that cut across the 3 stages of entrepreneurship, which is either they're in ideation stage, they're either creating a prototype / MVP, they're launching their business, or they intend to scale their business. So I cut across those various phases of business. So I tend to deal with startups a lot. And what I've seen is a lot of the time, most startups in our environment like to first draw up a business plan before anything else. And a business plan is one of those things that is a huge document and is one that is either expensive to do, which means that a lot of people avoid doing it. It's one of those things that you shouldn't do yourself technically. You should pay a professional to do it, mainly because of the components that goes with it. But I also noticed that a lot of the time, most of the people that need a business plan tend to not be able to afford it. So over this time, I've come up with a simple way of approaching and getting the basic information that you're looking for first. And then once you get that information together, you'll be able to then either give it to a professional to do it for you. Hopefully you're able to raise funds with it or even structure your business. But I'll always say to most of the startups and funders that I engage with that a business plan is a document that you use to entice investors. It's not a reality document, whereas a business model is your reality document. That's what you keep as a business person, as an entrepreneur, as a founder. You keep the business model, whereas the business plan you then give to the investor or potential partners that you may get, mainly because it's not really a reality document on ground. But as we go along, you would understand what I mean. So again, my name is Josiah Asen, an entrepreneur, a coach, and I would say an advocate of innovation. I'm dedicated to working with a lot of startups across Africa generally. I build ecosystems, developing frameworks, and hoping to then support startups and founders to be sustainable in everything that they do. But I focus a lot on leadership as well, and you know, designing programs, working with different variant ecosystems across Africa. So I've been in Ghana, particularly in the tech ecosystem, since 2011, working with startups, but I've been working before that. So yeah, I am the facilitator today, and I'm looking forward to engaging you. Normally what I do is a lot of my decks, I speak very fast. So what I do, I'll try to slow down as much as I can. But if there's anything that you don't understand or is too fast for you, once I'm done, prompt me, and then I will go over it with you. So do not feel like if you missed anything, then that's it. But if you miss anything, please write it down, prompt me, and then I'll engage. So basically, we've done an introduction. We will look at what business planning is and what is the connection to the framework that I'm talking about, really, that I will eventually get into. And then I'll give you a little bit of information on what iSpace is and what it is that we do generally. So that's pretty much what this evening is about, and any other information that would relay later on. So the objective here is pretty much using this framework to then help entrepreneurs to then analyze and structure their business plan effectively. That is what the ultimate objective is. So one will ask themselves, what is the 5 W's and H framework? And basically this is structured, I would say, technique that is used to explore and then understand problems, opportunities, or scenarios as comprehensively as you can, right? This is basically the ones that you already know, the 5 W's that you already know, which is the what, the where, the when, the why, and then it being, right? It helps you kind of provide a more holistic approach to then analyzing and then, business decision, really, because the 5 W's and the H kind of breaks everything down for you in the basic format. But then you can go deeper because, again, when you use it, the who, for example, you could probably define 10 W's in it, but that's something that we will talk about along the line and in future anyway. And like I said before, you have to ask yourself, what is business planning? What is business planning? And this is a process of creating a formal document or a strategy that outlines your goals, the objectives, the actions required to establish and then manage and grow a business. That's what literally your business plan is going to do, right? It will serve as a roadmap that will then guide your decision-making, either yourself or your managers or any stakeholders, for them to understand the direction that your business is going. So then basically this document is intended to make you achieve your goals, so to speak. When you're creating your business plan, you need to then think about these points. You need to, in essence, look at the goals, what you're trying to achieve, any action points, using it to establish your business, you manage your business and grow your business. So these are the 3 stages that you have to look at it. Establish, manage, and grow the business. You cannot do one before the other. It has to go in that order. You establish the business first, you manage the business, and then you grow your business. So your business plan has to be in that order. So one then would ask, what are the components of the business plan? And you're looking at the 10 major components of your business plan. You start with executive summary. And ironically, your executive summary is your first document that you have in your business plan, but that is the last document that you write in your business plan. Let me repeat that. The executive summary is the first document that you see in your business plan, but that is the last document that you are going to write in your business plan, mainly because it's a summary of everything that you've done. So you cannot have a summary of everything that you've done before you do everything before you do that summary. So that's the reason why your executive summary would be the last document that you write, but the first document that you show in your business plan itself. So you do this, again, a business description. So this becomes a detailed description of the business, the industry that you're in, and then what you intend to serve, right? Then number three, you look at your market analysis. So this is based on research, target audience, market trends, competition, whether there's a demand for your product or your service or both, because sometimes you find you do a product or you could be a service or do both. So you have to then determine very early on whether you're doing, whether you're offering a product or you're offering a service or you're offering both. So that's something that you have to talk about as well. So hopefully when we finish and you ask questions, I'll be able to tell you the difference in that. And then the fourth document will be your organization. So you look like, I would say, the operational side of your business, the structure of the business itself. This will include your leadership, the ownership details of the team that you have to put that in. Then you look at number 5, which is your product and services. And again, when you look at your product and services, some of you might just, typical example, you have somebody that's doing Tom Brown, right? You might have different flavors of the Tom Brown. You have to list every single one of them. And it's not, you don't just put, I make Tom Brown, mainly because you're doing 5 or 6 different flavors. So you have to list every single one of your products. And then also do not forget what your unique selling points are. Do not confuse your unique selling points with your competitive advantage or your unique advantage and all of these other things. Just your unique selling point, you have to kind of put it in there, right? And how they meet the customer needs, you have to describe all of these things. And then the number 6 document would be your marketing and sales strategy, basically how you intend to attract potential clients, to convert them into clients, to retain them. And then you might include things like your branding, your promotion, your pricing, any sales channels that you might use, whether it's social media or is it events, offline, online strategies in terms of how you're going to generate your sales. It could be word of mouth, anything. What are your sales channels that you're going to use? You need to kind of put that into your document as well. Then your operational plan. This is literally, I would say, your raw document. This is where you're going to show how things are going to work. Your logistics, how you intend to run the business, production, delivery, your supply chain management. Who are you working with? Your day-to-day operations. This is where you put the now in Ghana, where we're doing a 24-hour economy, for example, you would put in your operational plan for a 24-hour economy. Literally, how are you going to run? If you run 3 hours, you need to make it clear. If you're going to run 24 hours, you also need to make it clear. And number 8, as everybody would say, show me the money, which is, your financial plan. Literally, you're projecting revenue, expenses, your cash flow, any profit margins that you may have, and any funding requirements, and any strategies literally for you that you might use to then get your investment. You need to clearly demonstrate and document that for anybody to see. Then people don't like this particular word, but risk is one of those things that goes with business. And this is what I said before. Because you're giving this document to an investor, you need to identify potential risk and how you intend to then mediate that. Because you can't say, there's no risk in my business, because every business has a risk. And it's great for you to then clearly put it down for everybody to see that these are the potential risks. And the potential risk, that's where you do a lot of your market analysis, and then you do SWOT analysis and all of these things. You will then realize what your threats are, whether it is new government or policies that might come in place and all of these other things. You just need to you need to kind of list what the potential risk may be. And then number 10, last but not least, any supporting documents that you may have, whether it's the resumes, the legal agreements, any market research data that you have that you want to then put in the document, you just put that as part of the document that you need to kind of put together. So in essence, all these 10 documents, if you're able to put all of these together, you would have what will look like a Bible, right? It's a huge document. If it's done right, again, you will have all the information that you need. Now, remember that I said in my previous introduction that this is a document that you shouldn't do yourself. Averagely, it should take you about six months, 9 months to a year to complete your business plan, if your true business plan. And so imagine you doing 10 of these pages, and on average, every single page takes you 1 month to complete and get the information you're looking for, then that's 10 months. So that's almost a year for you to do all of these things if you do it properly. Of course, if you don't do it properly, you can do this within, a short period of time. And so the framework that I've designed is to help you do it properly, but in a short period of time, so that you can then be able to give a document to a potential investor or a partner for them to understand how your business works. And so one would say, then what is the importance of business planning? Again, I touched on it, but I want to summarize it again. It gives you a strategic focus. So because again, it provides you with clarity on your business goals and the steps that you need to achieve them. Then from there, it acts as a tool, a decision-making tool. It helps you, assess all the opportunities, the risk, and then any resource allocations that you might end up doing. And after you've done the decision, it will then help you attract any potential investors and any partners that you're looking for, because the well-prepared business plan demonstrates your feasibility. Feasibility meaning, is it possible that it would work? Or, is it something that this business could potentially become successful? This will in turn inspire confidence in your stakeholders. Your stakeholders here are your investors, your partners, government, and all of these other people that have a stake in the success of your business. And then you can use your business plan to also monitor your performance. So it will serve as a benchmark to then measure progress and any success. Why? Because you're going to have metrics in it, your SMART metrics, which is specific, measurable, right? Is it accurate? Is it realistic? Is it time bound? And then these are goals that you aim to achieve. So then once you put those goals in there, you'll be able to then do what? Measure them. And the business plan helps you do problem solving because it helps you anticipate any challenges and, literally for you to then devise any proactive solutions that you need to put in place for that to happen. So these really 5 key elements is why the business plan is important, because it's going to be your strategic focus. You're going to use it as a decision-making tool. Then again, you're going to use it to attract potential investors and partners, use it to then check your performance, use it for problem solving. So once you do all of this, then you know that a business plan is an ongoing process and should be revisited, as much as you can. Because changes do happen in the market, both
Get rid of Era.
In Pacho mention why. This somebody's got their mic unmuted, so if you can unmute that for me, please. But yeah, please be patient with the child. Why? I'm sure they want your attention, but be patient with them. Thank you. So once you do all of this, this is what your business plan is aiming for you to do, right? For you to then be able to plan well, adapt in your business environment, because the environment changes. In Ghana, it can change every 4 years when everything is okay, but you can be in Burkina or Niger, for example, and because of coup in Chad and everything else, the business environment changes. So that's why you always have to kind of revisit your business plan as often as you can to ensure that everything that you put in there actually makes sense. So then ourselves, how does this document fit in with basically what it is that we intend to do, right? So then ask yourself, what is the connection with the 5W? Now remember, 5Ws are just basic, which is your who, what, where, when, why, and how. And I'm going to show you how that works, right? So first of all, you start with who, right? And the who here will be your stakeholders. And your stakeholders ranges across so many different people, right? So these are, who are the key stakeholders involved in your business? You always have to ask yourself this question. Who are the key stakeholders involved in this business that I am trying to create? This being your founders, that's if you have a founder, your team members, your investors, your customers. These are your key stakeholders, right? These are the people that you're going to really focus on, and even government and all of these other people, because they have a vested interest in your business succeeding or failing. Then you look at your target audience. You need to ask yourself, who are your customers, right? What are their demographics? Demographics here being age, gender, education, financial status, all of those things you need to ask yourself. Where do they live? And all of these other things, those are the things that you look at when you look at your demographics. Then their preference, what kind of thing that they prefer, what kind of products are they using, what services are they already using in that sense? What are their pain points? The pain points are literally the stumbling block that a customer potentially faces when they need to solve a particular problem. So what are their pain points, really? That's, you need to analyze all of those things. Then naturally, you need to look at your competitors. Who are your competitors and what makes them successful? Now here, you need to be realistic with yourself. Now, do not, I would say, sit down and you a new business, and then, for example, you a new business that I would say you want to do waste management, right? And I ask you who your competitors are, and then the first thing you say is Zoom Lion. Are you sure Zoom Lion are your competitors? They might be your competitors later on, but really they are a brand that you aspire to be. So you have to also look at your direct and indirect competitors to this respect. So the indirect competitors are people really that are doing something similar to what it is that you're doing, but you actually aspire to be like them. They're not doing detail what you're doing. A direct competitor is somebody that is a mirror reflection of you, right? In this essence, they're doing exactly what you're doing, and they probably have the same, I would say, resources, team, structure, and everything like yourself, or they're in the same market as yourself. Because Zoom Lion is, I would say they're regional because they go across West Africa. So they cannot really be your competitors, right? They're an aspirational company that you would like to be. Whereas another waste management company that is next door to you, that is operating in your environment, is your competitor that way. So you have to really be honest with yourself. Who is your direct and indirect competitor in that sense? Sometimes it makes us happy, or we feel, it fills us with vim for us to name the big guys, but in reality, the big guys are not your competitors. It's the smaller guys that you're ignoring are your competitors. So you need to definitely analyze who your true competitors are, right? And that is the who. That's the first thing that you look at. Then you move to what. The what here is what product or service are you offering and what problem does it solve? So here's the thing. Are you offering a product? Are you offering a service? Or are you doing both? And what problem does it solve? So let me use this for example. If I go to the, I would say, the stream, the waterways and everything else, and then I'm able to bottle water, put it in a bottle, seal it off nicely, and then bring it to the market, what I'm doing is I'm selling a product, right? I put it on the shelf. So you go to ShopRite and pick up my water. So this water called J Water, for example. J Water now is selling a product. However, if you are going to pick up J Water on behalf of somebody and deliver it to the person, you are then doing what? Providing a service, because you do not make J water. You just literally deliver J water to somebody else. So that makes it a service. Now, if J water company manufacturers deliver the water to you at home, they are doing both product and service. So that is the difference between the three. Product means somebody can just come and buy the thing off the shelf and go, or you go buy the thing off the shelf and then send it to the person, or you're the one that creates the thing itself and then also sells it to the person or delivers it to the person. So then you're doing both product and service. So you have to clearly define what it is that you're doing, because that will ultimately determine your strategy, right? The partners that you need to have. It will determine the supply chain that you need to have. It will determine the kind of investors that you need to go for. So when you're doing product, be aware that you're doing product. If it's service, also be knowledgeable that you're doing service. And then if you're doing both, you need to know that you're doing both. Then what is your value proposition, right? What sets your business apart from your competitors? And please do not say price. Price is not a value proposition. It's not the most cleverest value proposition to use. A proposition here could be things that you do to relieve a pain point for a client. So it could be efficiency, it could be innovation, it could be, you saving them time, you saving them stress, it's great customer service. Those kind of things are what we would determine as being a value proposition, right? You offering a value to somebody's life, so to speak. Yes, money is a value to the client, but remember, because you got competitors, if your competitors reduce their prices, then that means that your business is you're literally out of business, right? So you always have to think value proposition this way. Your value proposition has to be it won't be cost effective for your competitor to do it. So for your competitor to copy you, it will cost them money to do. So this is where it offers that value for you. So you always have to think, my value proposition is so strong that if my competitor wants to do it, it will cost them money to do it. So you have to think about that. Now, then what are your goals? What are your short-term and long-term business goals? What do you want to achieve? So your short-term goals can be 3 months, 6 months max. Then your long-term 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 3, 4, 5 years gone. So in the short term, you probably want to move from 10 products to 15 products. That's in the short term. But in the long term, you want to be in Kenya, you want to be in South Africa, you want to do all of these things, or you want to grow your team, in the next 3 months, you want to grow your team by double whatever it is you have. But in the long term, you want to literally expand your team across various regions in Ghana. So we need to know what your short-term and your long-term objectives are. Then what are you offering, right? What are the specific features and the benefits of your product and service? You need to clearly define that. We need to know what those features are. Okay, what are the benefits? You need to put all of these things in a document. Why? Because eventually you would need to communicate that to an audience. You need to tell the audience what makes you different, what your features are, and what the benefits are. Those of you that tend to watch a lot of the product unveiling and unboxing and everything else, usually they tell you, oh, with this product, you can do this, this is the features, this is the benefits, and all of those other things. Literally, that's what you're doing. So in your business plan, you need to think about what it is that you're offering and then clearly define that. Then now we're talking about where. Where here we'll be speaking about where your business will then operate, whether in a physical location or is it online or both. And even in the physical location, you would then start thinking about whether it's Ghana. If it's Ghana, where in Ghana? Is it Accra, right? And even in Accra, where in Accra? And if it's in cantonments, where in cantonments? You have to break it down. And then it says the market, okay? The market here is where are your targeted customers located? Which geographic markets would you be serving? So basically, your business, your headquarters might be in, let's say, cantonments, but then your customers are all the way in Kaswa, for example, right? You then have to then think about how are you going to serve them? So this is where your distribution channels and all of those things will come into play. Hence why the where is important, because he will help you identify your distribution channels. So where would your product or your services be available for people to purchase, right? Whether it is retail, e-commerce, direct sales. And then you have to think about partners that you need to have in certain locations. So if your main business, if your main office or your physical location is in cantonments, but your customers are all the way in Kaswa, it's problematic, because if you don't have a distribution channel over there, you don't have partners over there that people can just easily go to the shops and buy your stuff, it would most likely increase your prices in terms of delivery and all of those other things. So that's why it's important. Where you are and where your customers are would affect how your business moves and the prices in terms of your logistics and everything that goes with it. So this is something that you have to think about. And those of you that are doing products, you also have to think about your physical location. Is it close to your raw materials resource, right? So if, let's say you are doing Tom Brown, for example, but then you are based in Accra, and then the Tom Brown has to be shipped all the way from, Bolga to come to Accra, it will cost you a lot of money. You might not get it on time. All of those things are things that you have to think about. That means that you have to be closer to your distribution channel. In that respect, the farmers and even the mill, that you have to be closer to get your product, to bag it so that it will be fresh and all that. So you have to think these things as deeply as you can. Okay, this is when. Then we move on to when. When is the timelines, right? So you're looking at where and when do you plan to launch your business and any new products. So you have to have a map, a timeline on when you intend to do things, okay? When do you intend to launch? You want to launch in June. If you need to launch a new product, when do you need to launch it? So you can go through all your product life cycles and all of those other things. And then market trends. When is the best time to enter a market or introduce a new offering? Typical example, when you look at Ghana, for example, market trends, we look at things like Dirty December. Dirty December is the time when a lot of, diasporans come into Ghana, want to have fun, they want to try new things and all of those other things. Usually, those are the times where a lot of these people want to go to the beach and, wear beachwear, wear bikinis and all of these other things. So if you're a fashion designer that wants to, let's say, use the kente and all those things to design beachwear, those are the best times to then kind of push your beachwear brand around Dirty December, because the clients that you're looking for would be in, and they're the ones that will buy it to that regards, right? Or around political seasons, you're one of those people that do, you will print t-shirts and all of those other things, market trends. When is the best time to enter a particular market or introduce a new offering onto the market, right? Right now, we've seen the cryptocurrency rising because Donald Trump is in power and he introduced his own cryptocurrency. His wife did the same thing. So they're looking at it right now. The market trend is looking at crypto. So this is the best time for them to then introduce a new product onto the market. So everything is about timing here. Then the milestones. When will you achieve specific goals? So then your first sale, your break-even point, your expansion, and all of those things, you need to clearly define that in your business plan. When do you intend to achieve your first sale? Could be 3 months after you launch your business. When do you intend to break even? It could be 18 months after you launch your business. When do you intend to expand your business? It could be 3 years after you launch your business. So all of these things are things that you need to put in place and then see how much you'll be able to achieve those specific goals, right? Now, this why is one of the most difficult answers to answer. And this is where you need to check reality. Reality speak to your ego and ground yourself in reality. Because again, why is looking at 3 basic things. Your purpose. Why does your business exist? And what is your mission and your vision? A lot of the time, most of us set up a business because, everybody's doing it, so I'm also doing it. We like to do this cash out mentality because everybody's doing it, so me too, I need to cash out. Why does your business exist? Because you're going to use that to then speak to customers later on, right? And then what is your mission? What is your vision? Remember, your mission is the thing, is how you do something, and then your vision is what you want to see. So your vision is 10, 20, 30 years away from now, right? You see it so far ahead of yourself. You want to go global. You want to go continental. In the next 10 years, you want to be the best, I would say, chocolate brand across the universe, right? It's so big, it's so huge in the next 10 years and all of those other things, right? And then your mission is how you're going to do it. So let's say if I want to be the best cocoa powder producer for chocolate in the next 10 years across Africa, right? That is the vision that I have for myself. In the next 10 years, I want to be able to provide cocoa powder for chocolate making, but across Africa. Well, how am I going to do it? I'm going to do that by providing the best cocoa powder from Ghana to all the African countries in that respect. So you see, by doing that, I'm able to achieve my vision. So you have to clearly state what that is. And then the market need. Why would customers choose your product over somebody else's? This is why I'm saying you do not start up a business because somebody else is doing it. You start up a business because there's an actual need. What makes you unique? What makes you special? Why should I buy the product from you? It's not because, oh, I'm cheaper. Well, if you're cheaper, your competitor can also be cheaper. And then what happens? See, so you need to clearly define what, why should customers choose you over somebody else? And then the why also speaks very well when we're talking to potential investors and partners. So why should investors or partners support your business? You might be the best team in Ghana, or you might be the best team in the world to do it, right? And because we're the best team, and then we've got the best product, we've got the best political climate, we've got the best customers, we're in the best country, we've got best, this. All of this comes together to speak to why somebody should invest or even partner with you. This is why I said your why is very important. There's one of those things that you have to make sure that you get right, because if you don't get it right, it will then kind of complicate everything for you. Then we go to how. How here is looking at different things. Execution. How would you operate your business in example being in your production wise, are you the one going to, produce the thing? As in you will get a machine, you will go and then grind the thing, then put it in the bottle, seal the bottle, put the labels on it and all of those other things, or somebody else is going to do it. You're just going to repackage it and then sell it. We need to know how you intend to operate your business, and then your supply chain. Who are you working with in terms of from, let's say, the raw material sourcing all the way down to how it gets to the customer, right? So what is your supply chain? Where are you in the supply chain? We need to look at that. And then delivery, how are you going to deliver it to them? Are you going to use a motorbike? And even the motorbike is going to be climate friendly. So is it going to be, electrical motorbikes and all of these other things, because it will speak to some of the value proposition that you have. And it will also speak to why investors should invest in you because of the technology and stuff that you're using. How are you executing this? Then what is your market strategy? How would you promote and sell your product on, and the services? Hope is great, prayer is great, but you need to have strategy. So how are you going to sell your products? Are you going to do that online? Are you going to use do that through physical stores, distributors? Are you then going to use it retail, wholesale? Retail and wholesale. Are you going to use wholesale to literally sell, or are you going to use retail strategies? We need to know all of these things. Are you going to use online, offline, community meetups? All of these things are things that we need to know. What strategy are you going to use to then, promote and sell your product? Then what is your financial plan? How will you fund your business, right? So if you're looking for, let's say, $100,000, how are you intending to get this 100,000? And then how are you intending to fund your business? How are you going to manage cash flow? Right? And then how are you going to ensure that what you're doing is profitable? Because you have to then define all of this. So you have to then develop a financial plan. Then this is where I talked about your risk identification. So how would you identify and then negate potential risk, right? So this is where you do your research, you go through data, analyze your data, and then say, okay, if we do A, B, C, and D, based off of what has happened in the past, we know that this is the risk that will potentially happen. When you look at how Corona happened, a lot of us did not foresee Corona coming, so the risk there was harder. It hit people because people were not ready for it. But then once Corona, now that Corona has happened, you can kind of predict any potential pandemic that might potentially happen is also a potential risk, because if you're one of those people that's doing import and exports, if there's another pandemic, your business might slow down because the ports will be shut down and all of these other things. So what are the potential risks? If you are importing things from places like China, you have to think about that, right? If you're importing things from the US, you have to think about the currency going up and down, right? So those are the risks. So maybe in China, you can probably think about pandemic and health implications, whereas in the US, if you're importing things from the US, for example, you have to think about currency, exchange rates and all of those other things. So you will see that the risk it would differ based off of the environment in which you operate in it. So your market, or I would say the market environment that you operate in, will determine your risk factor, okay? So now you've done all of these things, ideally, this is what it will probably look like, right? So, in summary, you're looking at your who would help you identify your target audience. Example being, smallholder farmers in peri-urban areas, and then your key stakeholders will be your investors, suppliers, and partners, right? Then define your solution, right? And its benefits and any other market differentiators that you may have, right? Then you look at specifically where you're trying to operate. So in this case, you put Ghana, where you target in your target market about pre-urban communities, and all of these other things is what you have to think about. Then you look at plan your timeline for prototyping, launching, and then scaling your business. So when are you going to bring your prototype out? When are you going to launch your business? And then when you're going to scale your business? Those three things are three timelines that you definitely have to use. Now, remember, between the prototyping and the launch, there's a huge gap. There's a lot of things that are happening in there that you have to think about. You have to think about things like your intellectual property, your team, getting your patents, your copyrights. All of these things are things that you have to think about. When you launch, you have to then think about things as, your team structure, taxations, competitors, market trends, all of these things you have to think about. For you to scale, you have to think about the market itself. You have to think about policies. Right now, if you want to scale, the after program, for example, would be a nice policy-driven mechanism for you to use to scale your business. Then you go to why. Why would help you explain the purpose in case addressing any food insecurities that might happen in the country or whatever, and any motivation that would allow the customer to buy. So in and out, you're using the how to basically outline any operational details and any marketing plan, and then your future, financial projections and everything else that goes with it. So in summary, this is what it's going to look like, right? Then before I go to the space that I will ask questions and everything else, I'm going to do a masterclass, but I think it's open to about 10 to 15 people, where I would help you put all of these documents together, and we will literally work. So you would start working on your business plan in the masterclass. I only do this so that if you're serious about it, then you sign up for it, but all that information will be sent to you so that, you can decide whether you want to sign up for the masterclass in itself. So then at least you can then start thinking about how you're going to start developing your business plan and everything. So for now, I will stop sharing and then come back on screen for you to ask any questions. But before I do that, hold on a second.
I trust stuff.
Briefly, I think somebody needs to mute their microphone. Yeah, thank you. So I'll talk briefly about iSpace, and then I'll stop sharing so that you can ask any questions that you do have. So basically, iSpace itself is an innovation hub that is based in Accra, but it works across the various regions and outside Ghana as well. We work with entrepreneurs who are in the ideation, incubation, and then operational stage. And those that are also doing anything to do with accelerating their businesses, we work with them to that effect. Now, a lot of the services that we run, consultation services, but again, if you're interested in that, this is the numbers and everything. So I will share this deck with you. You can look at it and then decide, you have an idea, you need consultation, you want to consult us, we can sit with you, talk to you, and then tell you yay or nay, what it is that you're going to do, that type of thing. Then we have major coaching services that we run. This is literally for people that, in a startup stage, want to either grow their business or they're thinking about how to put everything together. So we have a package for that, so to speak. So in a nutshell, iSpace, the services being a community and networking, capacity building, access to funding. They offer co-working spaces. So if you're looking for a space to work from, iSpace is one of the spaces that you can come to. They're based in East Legon, Ajengono side. So again, there's internet, there's water, they have, generators, so electricity is on, all that kind of thing. And then it offers a community for you to network with different people. If you're looking for skills, if you're looking for partners, they're able to then facilitate all of those things for you, so to speak. So this is me. Thank you very much. And then I will, stop sharing, and hopefully you have any questions that you have, and then we can talk about it. So thank you for your time, and I'm going to stop sharing and then come back on screen so that we can have the questions and answers time. Cool. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hands or you can type it in the chat box, and then I will answer for you. Okay. Don't be shy. Or you can ask questions. You're free to ask questions. This is the only time that you ask questions that it won't cost you. But then if you decide to do the consultation, then it will cost you. So it's better for you to take advantage of this particular time now and then ask questions knowing that it's not going to cost you. I know my business managers looking at me like, why did you say that? But I'm always on the side of entrepreneurs. See, so, I want entrepreneurs to ask questions.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, Timothy.
Yes. So my question is, do you always need an expert to write your business plan for you, or you can do it yourself?
Thank you for that question, Timothy. And what I'm about to say will break a lot of hearts. 70% of your document, you will need an expert to write it for you. And then the 30% will be you writing yourself. So the 30% part will be the I won't say the basic stuff, but the more personal stuff, right? Because it's external and internal. So the internal document here that you need to write yourself will be your business objectives, your business goals, your mission, your vision, your organizational structure, your management, the products that you have, and all of those. So you have to write those yourself because you know that, right? But things like market analysis and the financial plan and all of that, you will need an expert to do it. Because the financial plan, you need to project 5 years, projections, and you don't have the capacity to do it. It doesn't mean you don't know how to do it. You just don't have the capacity to do it. Now, somebody will say, what if I'm an accountant? What if you're an accountant, do not do it yourself, because you would end up cooking the books, as we will say. You would create false numbers because you're an accountant. You'd be wasting your time when you need to focus on other things. So yes, 70% of your document has to be written by an expert, and then the 30%, which funny enough is one of the core elements, has to be written by you. Timothy, hope that answered your question.
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Hold on, let me see the question. So Farida is asking about pain points, right? So when you think about customer pain points, right, the best way to think about it is what gets in the way of the customer getting something done, right? That's how you have to look at pain points in that respect. Because I can give you an example. If individuals or businesses, organizations face, so it can be financial pain point, process pain points, productivity, support pain points, emotional pain point, convenience. Examples of these from a customer perspective can be difficulty in navigating a website, right? So that could be a customer pain point, a long time waiting for a customer support. So example, if yesterday I wanted to call a particular network to reverse a charge that I sent to somebody accidentally. Now, when I called them, I had to go through a whole lot of, press 1. Do you want GAR? Do you want tree? Do you want all of these things? Meanwhile, if I don't get the decision made, call made in right now, I might lose my money. That was a pain point for me. See, so I can speak to the, telco and tell them maybe that cancellation button should have been in your app itself, where once I realize that I've made a mistake, I can just cancel it straight away. So I don't have to send Momo to the wrong people and then have to wait for 24 hours for me to get it. Fortunately for me, when I send the wrong information to the wrong person, or shall I say I send the right information to the wrong person, they were graceful enough to not have used the money, the data that I sent them, so I was able to then get the money back. So imagine had they used it, it would have been a problem for me. So that was my pain point, trying to get them to reverse the money, and the struggle that I went through is literally the pain point. So Farida, I hope that that helps with your understanding. So your pain point is literally what your customer is struggling with, particularly when they want to address a particular problem.
Hello.
Yeah.
Please, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
How do you finance your business plan in terms of crisis? For example, like COVID-19 and among others.
Mm-hmm. So say that again. How do you price your business plan, or how do you price your product?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So repeat that question for me, please.
How do you get your business financial plans in terms of crisis, for example, like COVID-19?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can speak to companies like PwC, those Deloitte and all of these other market research driven organizations. They will give you the information, or now there's so many AI tools that you can use. But remember, AI tools are only as good as the information that they hold. So sometimes in Ghana, because we don't have huge data sets, it makes it difficult for you to actually get the right information. So sometimes what you can also do is you can do location match. So you can look at Ghana, you can look at Ivory Coast. Our markets are similar. So you can draw information from Ivory Coast and then kind of mimic it to fit what it is that you're looking for in Ghana. But usually the best ones would be to speak to, research, market research organizations, PwCs, the Deloittes of this world, and they would usually sell the information to you, or some information. They would say you can use it, but you can credit us for it. You can, give us the copyright and all of these other things for it. See, so basically that's one of the ways to go around and do it. I hope that answered your question for you. So whilst you're thinking about it, somebody else asked the question, with your experience in the Ghanaian market, what are the major sources of funding that you would suggest for a startup? Christopher, great question. So it depends on where you are or the type of startup that you are. A lot of the problem right now, when you're involved in the fintech space, you're lucky because the government right now just said that they're going to put aside $50 million to support fintech startups. But usually there are a lot of investor networks that exist based off of the, I would say, the market that you're in or the sector that you're in. If you're a Greek, the Africa Development Bank and all of them organizations are there to support you. Now, there are other organizations that give grants, so that like the likes of MasterCard, the GIZs, and all of those other people of this world, they also give grants. But sometimes I would always ask, I would say, a founder, what funding are you looking for? And how much are you looking for, and what it is that you're looking for? That will determine what are you going to use it for. That will determine who we need to speak to. Because sometimes you might just need, let's say, $5,000 to create the prototype. But then in your mind, you think you need $100,000 to start off your business. Yes, you need $100,000 for your business, but you actually need $5,000 to do your prototype. So you need to break it down exactly what you're getting the funding for. That would then determine the sources that you go to. So Christopher, I hope that answered your question, but if not, my colleague will send an email out, and if it did not answer your question, kindly reach back to me and then we can have a conversation around that.
Hi, Josiah.
Yes.
Okay, so I think when you were talking about the business plan, you mentioned having set aside like 8 months to a year to be able to have like a very solid one. So I wanted to ask, like, do you do it simultaneously as you're trying to build your business, or you need to kind of like draft a plan before you actually get to it? Because I feel like some of the things that he said, you have to kind of get into the business before you be able to pen something down. But then the other things, it feels like they are projections, so they have to be there before you actually build the business. So there's a little bit of mixed ups there. What do you do about it? Do you create a plan, or you just build and then as you are building, you are creating the plan alongside?
Thank you for that question. I said that you asked the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in a way, thank you for asking that question. And that's a great question. So basically, the business plan has different components to it. And some of the components you just draft it straight away as you go along, right? And the things like your competitors and all that, so you literally need to have a skeletal version of your business plan before you can start. This is why I always said that it is better to have a business model than a business plan. The business model would help you start your business immediately, right? So whether you're using a lean model canvas or you're using your business model canvas, it helps you draft an overview of your business as quickly as possible. So a typical business model canvas will have your value proposition, it will have your customer segment, it will have your channels, it would have your relationships, it will have your revenue streams, it will have your key partners, it would have your cost structure, it will have your key activities. And so all of these things, you can develop them in the first probably 3 months or so of your business. And then whilst you're doing that, the information that you're getting, then you could be developing your business plan. This is why I said the business plan is actually for investors. So you cannot go to investors with a half-baked, so to speak, business plan. It has to be a comprehensive business plan that you need to go to them with. That's why starting off with your business model is important, it's imperative. I would say that's one of the first things that you need to start off first, and then use that information to develop your business plan. And I said that it looks like you dropped off, but if you're there, let me know if it answered your question for you. But then again,
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Did it answer your question?
Yeah, it did. So you need like the model, the business model is the first thing you do, and then it can guide you through like creating your business, and then alongside you can establish a business plan.
Yes.
That's what I got.
Right. Yeah. So, and I'll be running a class on that, I think next week, on introducing what the business models look like. And then we will talk about what a business model canvas looks like. And then, those that are interested in filling out the business model canvas first would be engaging in that. So we will send information on how to register for that one if you're interested in that one as well. So I said, I thank you very much for that question.
Thank you, Josiah.
You're welcome. Joel, I think you got your hands up.
Hi, Josiah. Thank you so much for this presentation. And whilst you were talking, you were saying something about investor, and it's really interesting. I wanted to find out, like, as early startup, is it good to go for equity investor or debt or revenue investor? That's when I'm talking about the debt or revenue investor, like when you only go for the investment when you have your profit or your profit at the end of the year, then you pay whatever percentage or the rate the investor gave you to pay. So I wanted to find at an early startup, is it okay to which one of them is good for? Because someone will say that I don't want to share, maybe sell part of the business, or maybe give part of the business to investors because of one or two reasons. But as an early startup, with your experience, what advice will you give? Thank you.
Thank you, Joel, for that question. And this is one of the questions that is a thorny issue, right? Because it depends on the kind of startup that you are putting together. So let me break it down. If you are a startup that, let's say, you want to do something in the fintech space, right? So you're doing financial tech, and I hope nobody quotes me on this, but just to get your license alone is around either $250,000 or $500,000 or something like that, of that nature. So imagine already you would need an investor to even give you that much money for you to get a license. So off that alone, this is where the equity side comes in, right? If you're doing the high-tech side of the startup game. But if you're doing low-tech startup game, or you are involved in the startup space where, let's say, you're one of those people that you're putting together oils and all of those things. And I'm not saying people that are doing oils are, not important. What it is the capital that is needed to start off your business is not that high for you to go for equity based at the moment, right? So do it in stages. First, you bootstrap. By that, I mean use your own money to then start off the business. Clearly line up what it is that you need the money for. If you need 100,000, break 100,000 down into the bare minimum. What do you need 100,000 for? Usually you will find that if salary is involved in it, let's say you're going to put 30,000 cities into salary or whatever, then that means take that off. You need 70K. What do you need a 70K for? Oh, I needed to create 5,000 bottles. Have you even tested your idea? You've not even tested your idea. So why are you creating 5,000 bottles? Narrow it down to the fact that you probably need only, let's say, 500 bottles to start with. So now you see that by breaking your potential money that you need for investment down, you've narrowed everything down. Then look at options like, apart from the fact that you are going to bootstrap, friends and family. And again, you know, usually we say to people, friends and family, people that can give you, 5,000 to 10,000 cedis, usually we say $5,000 to $10,000. And I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody in my family that would give me $5,000 to $10,000 for me to go and start up a business that they don't know whether it would work or not. So that's not realistic. So then you would look at funding agencies, grants, and all of this. This is why I mentioned places like iSpace, InnoHub, you've got Open Academy, you've got so many other innovation hubs across Ghana, right? Right now in Ghana, 16 regions, you have close enough to about 110 hubs. These hubs would help you at least at the basic level to gain access to funding, whether it's to GIZ, whether it's to MasterCard, whether it's to NEIP, and all of these other agencies. With them, they're debt and equity free, right? So go to those channels first. Get that money at a basic level, use that money, reinvest, invest it into your business. Then once you generate revenue, you can then really evaluate your business. Then you can look at angel investors. Generally, go to venture capital and all of those people when you want to scale your business in terms of product, in terms of team, in terms of location. But if you are not interested in scaling at any moment in time, then look at the bootstrapping, friends and family, or the grants side of things first from innovation hubs and other agencies first, before you look at angel investors and all of those other things. So I will not advise you to do debt, because debt, investment is a heavy toll to put on yourself as an I would say as a founder. It's one of those things that I would not advise you to do. But if you're generating revenue and you know that, okay, I can then get that investment and paid off bit by bit because I'm generating revenue, then that makes sense. But if you're not generating revenue, try the other channels first before you go for equity-based investment. Joel, did that help you?
Yes, you did. Very, very, very. Thank you so much for this.
You're welcome. Somebody asked in the group that does iSpace do business plans and how much we charge for it? Yes, we do. We help with your business plans and stuff. But then in terms of the charging, it will depend on what it is that you're doing, right? And how in depth it has to be and the market that you're involved in. But I would say my colleague is going to send an email, reply to that email, come for consultation. And those of you that are online, if you want to do the consultation, let my colleague know that you were online, and she would work out a deal for you that makes it easier for you to do that. And then let's have that consultation first before we can determine whether you need a business plan right now or you need a business model that is comprehensive enough that would be used to gain basic investment before the next stage. I think it's Marbella that asked the question. If I said your name right, great. If I said it wrong, please forgive me, but I tried. Anybody else with the question? Please don't be shy to ask the question. Okay, so we'll say, because most people are silent, so I'm guessing everybody is happy. We will share the recording as well with an email, and we intend to send an email after this. And again, talk about the masterclass. So those are interested, you can sign up for the masterclass and bargain if you want to bargain. I'm happy to you to do that. My colleague again will beat me for it, but it is what it is. And hopefully you will do the masterclass, see you in person. If not, there's the online sessions that we're going to do next week as well on the business models and all of these other things. And if you want to sign up for the business model class as well, virtual class, again, the link will be shared very soon. And then looking out for that one. And I will just share my immense gratitude for all of you online today. It's been a pleasure engaging you And again, if you have any questions, please reach out. We're going to form a WhatsApp group, so sign up for the WhatsApp group and engage as much as you can. And good luck on your entrepreneurial journey. Remember, it's a hard journey, but you're not alone. You have people that support you, that want you to succeed. And there's going to be some dark times, but then also know that in those dark times, there are the light times. Just do the right thing as an entrepreneur. Keep reading, keep learning, keep asking questions. People like myself are always available to engage. And again, I would say try and join innovation hubs. It doesn't necessarily be iSpace alone. I would love you to join iSpace because through the innovation hubs, you get to experience and then also know other opportunities that exist in the ecosystem, because we get a lot of funding opportunities, a lot of trips for startups to travel around the world and all of these other things. So please join an innovation hub, sign up to be part of their communities and all of these so that you'll be plugged into the system. And I would say stop going to internet cafes to do the work. Go to innovation hubs, because you are most likely going to meet your co-founders there. You're most likely going to meet graphic designers. You're going to meet web developers in these spaces. So join communities. And yeah, I mean, looking forward to engaging you. And thank you very much. Have a great evening. If you're traveling home, be safe. If you're home already, be safe, and thank God that you're home, and have a great night, and see you hopefully next week. So thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josiah.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much, Josiah. We really appreciate what you've given us today. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Hmm.